Everyone, this is Professor Sheetal Pujare and we are continuing with a discussion on the Module 2 Transmission Media. In a previous lecture, we have talked about the telephone TV networks, dial-up modems, and now we will be discussing about the digital subscriber line, and in our next lecture, we will be covering the cable TV network. Now, after traditional modem, they reached their peak data rate, the telephone companies developed another technology, DSL, that is digital subscriber line, to provide higher speed access to the internet. Now, digital subscriber line technology is one of the most promising for supporting high speed digital communication over the existing local loops. Now, this DSL technology, it is a set of technology each differing in the first letter: ADSL, VDSL, HDSL, SDSL. The set is often referred to as XDSL, where X can be replaced by A, V, H or S. Let's discuss all these technologies one by one. Now, ADSL, the first technology in this particular set is the asymmetric DSL, that is ADSL. Now, ADSL like a 56K modem, it provides higher speed in the downstream direction, that is from the internet to the resident, and then in the upstream direction, that is from the resident to the internet. And that is why the reason it is called as asymmetric, because the uploading speed and the downloading speed it is different. Now, unlike the asymmetric 56K modem, the designers of ADSL specifically divided the available bandwidth of the local loop unevenly for the residential customers. Because the residential customers, they normally need more downloading speed as compared to that of the uploading speed. However, the service is not suitable for business customers who needs a larger bandwidth in both the direction. So as you could see over here, ADSL is an asymmetric communication technology which is designed for residential users. It is not suitable for businesses. Now, one interesting point is that the ADSL, it uses the existing local loop. Now, the existing local loop can handle a bandwidth of around 1.1 megahertz. Now, how does ADSL reach a data rate that was never achieved by traditional modem? The answer is that the twisted pair local loop is actually capable of handling bandwidths up to 1.1 megahertz. But the filter which is installed at the end office of the telephone company, where each local loop terminates, it limits the bandwidth to 4 kilohertz, which is sufficient for voice communication. So if the filter is removed, however, the entire 1.1 megahertz will be available for data and voice communication both. So they will say the existing local loop, they can handle bandwidth of up to 1.1 megahertz. Unfortunately, 1.1 megahertz is just a theoretical bandwidth of the local loop. There are many factors why this bandwidth value of 1.1 megahertz could not be achieved. There are factors such as the distance between the resistance and the switching office, then the size of the cable, the signaling used, and so on. All these factors affects the bandwidth. So the designers of the ADSL technology, they were already aware of all these problems, and therefore they used an adaptive technology that tests the condition and bandwidth availability of the line before settling on the data rate. So we can say that the data rate of ADSL, it is not fixed. It changes based on the condition and the type of the local loop cable. So we say that ADSL is an adaptive technology. The system uses a data rate based on the condition of the local loop line. Now, the modulation technique that has become standard for ADSL, it is called as the discrete multitone technique, DMT, discrete multitone technique, which is basically a combination of QAM, quadrature amplitude modulation, and FDM, frequency division multiplexing. Now, each system, they can decide on its bandwidth division, but typically a bandwidth of around 1.04 megahertz. 1.04 megahertz is divided into 256 channels. Each channel uses a bandwidth of 4.312 kilohertz. Now how the bandwidth are divided, let us see over here. Now the channel 0, the top one which you could see over here, the channel 0, it is used for voice communication. Channel 1 to 5, they are not used so as to provide a gap between the voice and data communication. Then channel 6 to 30 over here. Channel 6 to 30, they are used for upstream. As you could see over here, channel 6 to 30, they are used for upstream bits. Out of this 25 channels, one channel used for control and 24 channels are used for data transfer. So if there are total say 24 channels, each using 4 kHz, out of that 4.312 kHz available with QAM modulation, then we have 24 into 400 into 15, that is 1.44 Mbps bandwidth in the upstream direction. However, this is just a theoretical value. Actually, the data rate is normally below 500 kbps because some of the carriers are deleted at frequencies where the noise levels are large, so some of the channels may not be used. Then, channel 31 to 255, they are used for downstream bits. Out of these 255 channels, one channel is used for control and 224 channels are used for data. However, the data rate is normally below 8 Mbps because some of the carriers are deleted at frequencies where the noise levels are large. In other words, again we can say that some of the channels are unused. So this is how the bandwidth division is made in the ADSL technology, as you could see over here. So this is the bandwidth division of the ADSL technology. Now this particular figure over here, it shows an ADSL modem. Now the local loop which is over here, as you could see, the local loop connects to a splitter which separates the voice and the data communication. The ADSL which is used over here, ADSL modem over here, it modulates and demodulates the data using DMT and creates the downstream and the upstream. If you could see the complete diagram over here. So the voice is going to the telephone and the data is then passed on to the computer. Note that the splitter which is used over here, it needs to be installed at the customer premises, normally by a technician from the telephone company. The voice line can use the existing telephone wiring in the house, but the data line needs to be installed by the professional. So all these things makes the ADSL line expensive. But we have an alternative technology to this which is called as universal ADSL, which we will be discussing. Now, at the telephone company side, the situation is different. So instead of a ADSL modem, we have a device which is called as DSL-LAM, that is Digital Subscriber Line Access Multiplexer. Digital Subscriber Line Access Multiplexer, DSLAM. Now it is installed. In addition, it packetizes the data to be sent to the internet, that is the internet service provider server. As you could see, this is the complete equipment at the telephone company end office as well as in the customer premises, as you could see over here. Now, the installation of the splitter at the border of the premises and the new wiring for the data line, it can be expensive and impractical to discourage some of the subscribers. So a new version of ADSL technology called as ADSL Lite, or also called as Universal ADSL, is available for the subscriber. Now this technology, it allows an ADSL Lite modem to be plugged directly into a telephone jack and connected to the modem. And the splitting is done at the telephone company. The ADSL Lite, as you could see over here, ADSL Lite, the second one over here. The ADSL line, it basically uses 256 DMT, last bit DMT. So the ADSL basically uses 256 DMT carriers with 8-bit modulation instead of 15-bit. However, some of the carriers may not be available because errors created by the voice signal might mingle with them. So it can provide a maximum download speed of 1.5 Mbps and an upstream frame of 512 kbps. So that's the second one, that is the ADSL Lite. The third one that we have over here is the HDSL. HDSL, High Bit Data Digital Subscriber Line. HDSL. It was designed as an alternative to the T-line. The T-line, it uses AMI encoding, alternate mark inversion encoding, which is very much susceptible to attenuation at higher frequencies, and it limits the length to only say 1 kilometer. So for longer distance, a repeater is necessary, which will increase the cost factor again. Now HDSL, it uses 2B1Q. As you could see over here, the third one is your HDSL. It basically uses 2B1Q encoding. 2B1Q encoding. Now what is this 2B1Q encoding? It is basically 2 binary 1 quaternary. 2 binary 1 quaternary, that is 2B1Q, which uses a data pattern of size 2 and encodes the 2-bit patterns as one signal element belonging to a 4-level signal. Now all these line coding techniques, they are already discussed in chapter number 4 of Farozen. So you can go through that chapter to get details of all these technologies. If you want, you can refer to chapter number 4 of Farozen. Now HDSL uses 2B1Q encoding, that is the third one, which is less susceptible to attenuation. And here a data rate of 1.544 Mbps can be achieved without the repeaters up to a distance of 3.86 kilometer. HDSL, it basically uses 2 twisted pair cables, one for each direction, to achieve full duplex transmission. Then the fourth one that we have over here is the SDSL, the Symmetric Digital Subscriber Line. It is a 1 twisted pair version of HDSL. It provides full duplex symmetric communication, supporting up to 768 kbps in both the directions, as you could see over here. So SDSL provides symmetric communication and it can be considered as an alternative to ADSL. Then the last one that we have over here is the VDSL. The last one that we have is the VDSL. Now VDSL is an alternative, very high bit rate digital subscriber. It is an alternative approach that is similar to ADSL, and it uses coaxial, fiber optic or twisted pair cables for shorter distance, and it provides a data rate of 25 to 55 Mbps for upstream communications of up to 10,000 feet. And the downloading rate is 3.2 Mbps. So the table basically shows the summaries of different DSL technologies. So we end here, and in our next lecture we'll talk about the cable TV networks. Thank you.